Hello, this is Mark Thompson, and welcome to yet another episode of 177 Nations of Tasmania. And in this episode, I'm talking to Gergana from Bulgaria. Now, Bulgaria, in the Australian popular imagination, is rather a dark and mysterious country, probably more closely associated with Olympic weightlifters than concert pianists. And so today, I'm talking to Gergana about how someone from Bulgaria comes to be studying her PhD in music in Hobart. And I learn a bit about some of the differences between Bulgarian culture and Australian, including hearing about a rather unique Bulgarian custom that I'm sure many people find rather surprising.
Hello everyone, my name is Gergana Yildiz and I'm from Bulgaria. I was born in Bulgaria and I grew up in Bulgaria. I studied there until my bachelor degree and my master degree. Then I got married to a Turkish guy. Then I moved to Turkey. I lived there for 4.5 years where I worked and studied and lived. And then I've been in Hobart for 4.5 years now. So we came in December 2015. I'm a classical pianist. I started to play piano when I was 7. I finished a piano performance in bachelor degree and master degree in Bulgaria. And then when I moved to Turkey, I worked as a lecturer in classical piano. So there I was teaching Turkish students classical piano. So classical music, their Turkish classical music and Western music. And then I came to Tasmania to do a PhD. I prepared a research proposal, which was about the folk music and the classical music.
So why Tasmania in particular?
Well, it wasn't intentionally Tasmania. When I worked in Turkey, as I said, I was teaching classical piano to the Turkish students. And because of that job, I had to learn a lot about the Turkish classical piano tradition, which is not very broad topic. You know, you've got to be there or you've got to meet someone. I had this that good opportunity because I was there and I could be in the environment and to get to know it well. And for these years, I started to think that we're very similar. The Turkish classical piano music and the Bulgarian classical piano music, they're both based on a folk elements. And I found that one element which is we as Bulgarians, we're very proud with it. We're very proud with that rhythm. And what we were taught and what we grow up with, that's like our musical, proudness. Yeah, we're very proud with it. And we think, oh yeah, this is only in Bulgaria. There's nowhere else. And it's Bulgarian. And then when I moved to Turkey, they have it the same thing. And they said, oh, it's Turkish. And we're very proud with it. I was like, oh, okay. And we're border countries and we don't know about that thing. That was very interesting to me. And that particular rhythm that was implied in the Bulgarian classical piano repertoire and in the Turkish. It was very, very interesting. And when I went and I was teaching that to the students, to Turkish students, says, oh, look, we know how to do it because it's Turkish. We know everything about it. That rhythm. I was like, okay, yeah, we know that rhythm too. And then I started to research that rhythm. It's called aksak in Turkish. And that's how basically most of the Western world know it. And then I developed this research proposal. I just wanted to go further and see what I can do in academia. Then I prepared a proposal for a PhD. I sent it to a couple of places. Not only in Australia, I sent it in Europe, and I got a place in Sweden and in Australia. In Australia, I got Hobart, got supervisory team in Hobart. And I was like, okay, let's do that. And because we can always go to somewhere in Europe and come back, and it's hard to get a visa for Australia. It's hard to come here, and it's hard to, we thought, okay, it's one chance. If it doesn't work, we'll just go back. And yeah. And then I came here, started a research master's degree because I don't remember why. I think they needed a publication, an English English language publication for a PhD. But because I didn't have it, I started as a research master, then I converted to a PhD, which I completed here. Yeah. And that's my topic. That's been what I've been doing for the last 7 years as a research. Yeah.
So do you know whether this started in Bulgaria or Turkey, or is it one of those things which is sort of still not clear?
It's a folk rhythm, which is in the folk music of that region. They have it in Greece, they have it in Turkey, they have it in Bulgaria. Yeah, but Bulgarian composers, piano composers, they use it in a certain way, and Turkish composers use it in another way in their music. To me, that was interesting because that's the sign of nationality, the sign of proudness for both countries. But yeah, we don't realize it as a common thing probably that way, and I don't think that I would be able to do that kind of project in either of those countries because of this reason, because of that sense of nationality is there. I wouldn't be able to say, okay, this is, say, Turkish composers do this better.
So have you found that being so far away in like somewhere like Tasmania, you can take a more detached view of the topic like this?
Yeah, definitely. One of the things I was very surprised, let's say, is the way that Western world look at our classical piano music. Yeah, so the way that what is Eastern Europe, I could see from here. I know that we're Eastern Europe. I know that we're very close in terms of music to all the Eastern European countries. I know that we're close to Russia, of course, but when you come here, it's different. That is very different. Yeah, that is very different. That was a bit shocking for me. I was like, okay, how it's different. Say the things that we think it's modern for us, but it's not as modern, or at least I felt it is that in that way. It's not as modern as, say, they perceived it here. You know what I mean?
So you said you started piano at 7. What got you started in playing the piano? Was it something that was important in your family?
No, it wasn't. I just remember my mom came from work one day and said, "Hey, do you want to start playing the piano?" I was like, "Okay, yeah, let's start doing that." And then I started. Yeah, I just started like this, but I liked it. Yeah, it's very common. It was very common. I think it's still common for the kids in Bulgaria. And we had like art schools. They are detached to the normal schools, and you go separately to that building. You can study any instrument there, or painting, or ballet, or all kind of arts. And then you've got your art classmates, and then you participate in different concerts. And yeah, it was a good thing to do as a kid.
So yeah, was that music course, was it part of your normal school studies, or was it something extra? No,
it is something extra. Yeah, it is not. It's not related to the school. It's a different school. Yeah, it's called Citaliste. That kind of schools. Yeah.
But that's a state-run school?
Yes, they are all state-run. Well, probably not all of them now, but yeah, most of them they were at that time. Yeah. I started at that Citaliste in my hometown, which is very close, a little town very close to Sofia. And that Citaliste was built in the end of 1900s, a very old building and very old institution, and it's still going. Okay. Yeah.
And so you started there when you were sort of at primary school?
Yes, I started at the same time when I started primary school. Yeah, at the age of 7. And then I studied piano there until I was 14 years old. And then I moved to it's kind of music school, but it's music and language together. You've got to apply to that school. You've got to go and perform as an exam, and then write, I don't remember what was, and yeah, you write an essay or stuff, and then you get accepted to that school. That's another city. I studied there, and then I studied piano performance in the Academy of Music and Dance in Plovdiv.
I've been to Plovdiv, actually.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Beautiful city.
Yes, it is. And the academy there's a big amphitheater in Plovdiv. Yeah. Have you been there? Yeah. So the music academy was just on the top of that.
Did it help to have that sort of environment?
Yeah, of course it helps. Yeah. And my classmates and all the colleagues, it was nice. It was a very good environment, very good musical environment. And Plovdiv is one of the most cultural cities of Bulgaria. So Sofia and Plovdiv. There's a lot of festivals, classical music festivals, chamber music festivals, theater festival. You could go and see every day. There was something where you could go and see. It was beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, it's the second largest city in Bulgaria.
That's right. Yeah, it's the second largest city.
So was it a difficult place to get into?
Yes, it was a difficult place to get into. And it's a music, fine arts and music, dance and fine arts academy, but music was the first field it was open to. And when they opened it, it was like the second branch of the Sofia Music Academy. And it started as only pedagogical. So if you want to be a piano teacher, not performer, you go to Plovdiv. If you want to be a performer, you go to Sofia. Okay. Yeah, that's basically the model in all the Eastern European countries and Russia. The musical education it goes in that way. But then later they opened the performance classes in Plovdiv. So I applied for the performance classes, and yeah, it was very hard to get there. We had to play 2 hours program in front of jury by memory. So yeah, it was very stressful. I remember that very well. Yeah, there was a big concert hall, and they pull out all the chairs. There's only one table with the jury sitting there. Oh, wow. Yeah, and then you go there alone. You step on the stage. It's like a concert, but you're fully aware that it's an exam because there's no audience.
I would imagine that would be harder because there's only these people watching you.
Yes, and they're there to assess you. And they were eliminating tours, so you've got to. If you don't pass the first, you don't go to the second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it was hard. That was hard. And then I applied for the pedagogical faculty as well. I got places into both of them, but then I decided the performance one. Okay. And I graduated as a classical pianist and piano teacher.
So when you graduate from this academy as a concert pianist, is there a clear sort of career pathway open to you straight away, or do you have to, or is it more difficult than that?
You could do piano accompaniment, which is which is the easiest way to get a job. Say if you're a new graduate, you can be a piano accompaniment in basically every music school, because every other instrument will need a piano accompanist for everything. Every violin, every flute, every classical, everyone who goes to exam, every other one will need a piano accompanist, or the ballet school. Or you can open your own school and start teaching, but that is not easy because there's a lot of music professionals there. So yeah, the competition is quite hard. Yep. Yeah.
And do a lot of Bulgarians want their children to learn piano or other instruments? Is it something that's kind of valued?
Yes, it is valued. Yeah, it was part of the culture, and it's still part of the culture. Just as the times go by, it's getting difficult to get a job, and then the students are getting less and less, and now young people just see, okay, how can I find what's the easiest profession to get into to find a job? That's not easy. And they know it, so it's getting lower and lower. Mm-hmm. The number of students applying, the number of students studying. Yeah.
And I guess in the past, in Eastern European countries, there was a lot of support from the state for music. It was considered important. Has that changed a lot?
Yes, there's no support now. And in the past, that was easier. That was very easy. I mean, once you have graduated, the state sends you to a certain music school, a certain place, and you start working straight after you finish. You just start working. If you finish a performance field, so you can be a performance teacher, you're a violin teacher, piano teacher or whatever. And then you're sent to the music school, the certain music school of that type. If you're a music teacher, you're sent to a normal school and you become a music teacher. Now you're not sent anywhere and you got to do it yourself.
Send yourself.
Yeah, you've got to, and that's difficult. That is difficult because the economy of Bulgaria is not good, and you've got to go to probably a bigger city where people have more money and they can afford piano lessons or private music tuition of any kind. And then when you go to big cities, of course, there are more people there and more competition there. It's not easy. It's not easy. Many of my colleagues went to Europe to try to do career, or to the US. Yeah, I went to Turkey. Yeah. But mine was a bit more. I had my husband. I met him in Bulgaria.
Okay.
He's also a pianist. We studied together. He came to do a master's degree in piano performance when I was doing a bachelor. And then we got together, and then I moved to Turkey with him. He had a job in the university as a piano teacher. Then I got a job in the university as a piano teacher. So yeah.
And now he's here, and he's also performing with you. I've noticed.
We're still here. We're still performing together. We play piano duo since we met in 2009. We started as a student, and we've got this, it's called piano accompaniment, but you can play with another pianist there. So they formed a piano duo of us, and we had to do exams together and do concerts together, and we're still doing that. Yeah. We've played a lot in Hobart, actually. We played every year. We've done gigs at Mona. We've been to Sprayton. Every September, we used to go to Sprayton. There's a Hans Vonk music house there in Sprayton. Yeah, JC Vonk, his wife, she's organizing chamber music concerts with different musicians. So we used to go there every September for 4 years and play piano duo recitals. And also, the last one was when I finished my PhD. He played with me just to the end of the PhD, the last concert. Yeah.
And how's it been the last few months through the whole pandemic lockdown? How's that affected the music?
Oh, yeah, that's not good. Yeah, we don't have any concerts. We don't have any gigs. We opened a piano studio here, so we teach now. Recently, my husband's been teaching only, so this is how we live now.
How many people were in your family?
Oh, I live with my mom, and that's all. I lost my dad when I was very little, and then mom, she struggled. Of course, she struggled, and that was the time after the Soviet broke. So the first years was very hard, and it's been very hard for her. Now I can realize it, of course. We good together. We're good together. Yeah, she came here. She came to Hobart.
Oh, did she?
Yes. that was a big project for her because in her entire life she didn't travel much.
All right.
Yes, she didn't travel much, and now that's probably the most distance.
The biggest journey.
The biggest journey you could do. Yeah. Yes, it's about 30 hours flight.
So how did she find it? How did she find it in Hobart?
Oh, she liked it. She liked it. She doesn't speak English, but she liked the people. She said, oh, they're all very friendly. They're all very smiley. They're all very happy. And she always says she could do the bus trips on her own with the green card. You don't have to speak there, so that was fine. But she always said, oh, people are so nice. In the bus, they say hello. I say hello. Yeah, she liked the people. I think she liked it. Yeah, she stayed with us 2 months in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
So quite a long time, actually.
Yes.
So you mentioned that when you were little, it was still, because you would have been born when it was still in the old Soviet era.
Yeah.
And so how old were you when Bulgaria sort of opened up?
When I was born in 1987, and then that collapse was 2 years after. But when I was a kid, I grew up in the hard years after the change. They still talk about the change. It's still the change. Or say, because I grew up in a very tiny town, and people are older there. Every time when I go there, they have this saying, now after the changes. Now after the changes, you know, it's not now, it's been more than 20 years.
Yeah.
But they say now after the changes, because they're so used to what was before that change, it didn't, for small places like my hometown, it didn't still sing, I think. It didn't still happen in people's minds, or it's happening and they're against it. Yeah, it's hard. It's very hard to make. It's not a change that you could do for an overnight change. It's not an overnight change. Yeah.
Yeah. So are people maybe a bit nostalgic about the old times?
Oh yes, they are. Yes. If you ask them, no one likes what is now. They all talk about how nice and how ordered it was before, and everyone had work and everyone had money, and how good the system it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Presented that.
No, I think overall Bulgarians have a positive attitude to what it was, and I would say that it was better for them. Bulgaria, it's more developed now. Every time when I go back, I can see it because I don't go very often. I can see that it's changing. But for the people living there, it's not easy. It's not easy, and they complain and they don't see that. They don't see the positives, and they can't see the positives. It's not easy. It's not easy to live there.
So, what are the biggest things that people would complain about in Bulgaria?
Corruption.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, corruption and poor economic and poor health. Yeah, that kind of things.
So when you first arrived in Tasmania, what were your first impressions?
It felt like we're back in time. Like time has stopped 50 years ago and we've gone there with the time machine. This was the feeling. I remember that very well. And we came with my husband. We had a walk at this Hobart city center, like Elizabeth Mall, just the main street. And it was probably the evening. There was no one. Like no one was there. And it was summer here. It was mid-December here.
Yep.
It was very strange. Very, very like a ghost town.
Yeah.
It took me a while to get the idea that there's a lot happening here, actually. Yeah. There's a lot happening in Hobart. You just have to be part of a certain mailing group, or you just have to know where to look to know the places. Otherwise, it just feels like that. You just go and there's nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing there. Time machine goes in the past 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Just the birds and the beautiful scenery, but no one.
There is a lot happening in Hobart, but if you're a newcomer here, you don't know about it.
Yeah.
And it can be quite hard to find out about these things. It's like you need to be a member of a secret society or something.
Yes, there is a lot happening here. There's a lot happening. But it feels like it's, when you see a lake and the lake is very still on the surface, but down there it's happening. The life is happening down there. This is what Hobart is. And it's still like that. Probably it's a bit more lively than it was 4.5 years ago. Yeah. We can sense that through the traffic, say. There's more people, more traffic, more shops, more cafes. Yeah, it's probably more, but still you have to know where to look if you want to go to a concert, if you want to book an appointment with it. That's another thing. Yeah, everything works with appointments. Everything will work with appointments. That that was shocking. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So was not like that in Bulgaria or Turkey?
No, they have appointments, but here everything is, your friend is an appointment. You've got to make an appointment with your friend. I made, I don't know, it feels like very organized. Everything is on time. You can't just play it by ear,
Yeah.
You bump on someone and say, oh, I saw you, let's go for coffee. That's not planned. This is what it feels like.
So would you say that would be more common in Bulgaria?
Yes.
Just to be able to do things on the...
Yes. I was going to tell you a couple of months ago, I met, I work at the Center of the Arts here, and I met a guy who's from Macedonia. So we speak a very, very similar language. Yep. We can speak our languages and communicate with no problems. So we met there, and we started speaking English, and he said, oh, where are you from? And I said, my name is Gergana. And he said, where are you from? And I said, I'm from Bulgaria. And then we started speaking the language, and he said, okay, let's go for coffee. I was like, let's go for coffee. And then we went for coffee. But at that time I realized, that's been so long since someone just bumped and said, let's go for coffee. Yeah. It could be just me. I don't know. Or my friends here.
Yeah, you might have hit onto something there. That's why I like these conversations, because it gives us local people a perspective from someone else, and we kind of think, oh yeah, actually maybe, yeah, people do that. I was told one thing about Bulgaria is it's one of the few countries where shaking your head means yes.
That's different. Yeah. This is yes.
Yeah, she's shaking her head, just like so people know.
And this is no, because I lived in Turkey. Mm-hmm. I fixed myself there, so I can do yes like in a normal way. Yeah. But yeah, I remember I struggled there. Yeah, I think it's only Bulgarians that do that.
Do you know how that started, or whether there's some history to that?
There's a story about that, but yeah, it's like one of those old legends that we don't know whether it's true or not. Yeah. But they put a knife. Someone put a knife on one of the Bulgarian kings here, and he had to say yes or no. Yeah, and if he said yes, he would kill himself. Mm-hmm. So he said yes by doing this. Yeah, not by nodding. I remember my husband, when he came to Bulgaria, he was telling me a story. He said, I went to a taxi, knock on the door, opened the door of the taxi and said, are you available in Bulgarian? And he did that. And then he said, okay, thank you, close the door. Then went to another taxi, are you available? He shook the head again. He said, okay, thank you. Then went to the third car, and then the first driver gave me, hey boy, come.
So when you first arrived in Tasmania, what were sort of some of the most difficult things to adapt to?
I struggled with my studies. Yeah, a lot. I mean, with the system, with of course the language. I had to read a lot of literature in different language, understand it and paraphrase it, make sure. And I was doing academic research, I had to make sure that is correct, and that is that was very stressful. In Tasmania, like a life.
Yeah, like are there any aspects of everyday life that you needed to adapt to?
The very basic thing, the shoppings, the shops. They're all very far from everywhere. There's far from you have to drive, and I don't drive. Now I drive, but I don't drive a lot. And also probably that social, that we were talking with you before about getting to know what is happening, so you could attend something, or you you could meet some, because you meet people if you're doing something. It's the same everywhere. You have to get out there. You have to talk to people. You have to meet. You have to do something. You've got to be active to get social life here, and that social life is hard to find. Yeah.
So what did you do to sort of try and get to know more people here?
Yes, well, it takes time. It took time. Yeah, it took time. I remember I had, of course, the con community with the students, and that was my first community, of course. Yeah. And then we went to the Baha'i. Oh, yeah, that was interesting. So my husband found the Baha'i Center, a very strange building. Oh, he knew I hadn't heard about the Baha'is at all. And then here you come in the end of the world, and this beautiful center, and a whole big religion and a whole big tradition behind something. And yeah, he went there. They invited us to one of their soul foods, so we went there. Probably that was the first community out of the school, and they're very nice people. They've got like a tea afterwards, and you can socialize. It's very hard when you don't know anyone and you don't know how the life works here. It's you can just stay in your room and go to school and come back, and yeah.
I think that's a very common experience here. Yeah, I've heard people say they felt for the first year they felt really isolated and lonely, because the people here usually we have our networks. Yeah, we know all the people that from school or whatever, and a lot of local people don't realize how difficult it is.
Probably if I come back now and I know, I would go to the TSO and ask for add me to the mailing list. I would do that thing now, so I could know what is happening, when it's happening, go there. Because
I think there are often quite a lot of small musical events happening all the time, or before the pandemic anyway.
Yes, before the pandemic anyway. Yeah. Well, if you're a musician, you go straight into there. Yeah, you could find. I mean, I knew what was happening the first couple of months here, because I was at the con, and then there's musicians everywhere. They know other musicians, they know other concerts, they know other gigs. You can find students, which was impossible. I was like, oh, okay, how could you find the work? Can you teach here? Well, you can teach here. You can teach here, and you can find students. And it's not, people are very open. Actually, they want to study. They want to learn. They like different cultures. They like different traditions. When they come to us, they're very interested about my background, about my tradition, about my education. Yeah, it just feels very weird in the beginning. Lots of pianos here. And also for a start, for a kid, piano is a very enjoyable instrument. You get an easy result from the piano. Say you press the key and it's the key. But say all the string instruments, the violin, the viola, the cello, you've got to put a lot of effort until you get this sound, and then you phrase, and then you need a pianist or you need someone else to make music. It's a bit different. Yeah, in that terms, piano is a good instrument. Yeah. And everyone can start. Everyone can start at any age.
Do you find there are any differences you've noticed between the kind of audiences here compared to, say, in Bulgaria, and the way they enjoy music, I suppose?
Yeah, they're different. First of all, it's very nice to play here. It's very nice. Yes, as a feeling, when you go on the stage, you feel free and you feel appreciated. That's very clear. I remember very well our first concert we played with my husband in a couple of months when we arrived, and it was very positive feeling when you're on the stage. The people clap a lot. You just feel it, But then after concerts, say that's different. Here they don't comment a lot. They come to see you after the concert, say congratulations, and that's all. They don't go into details about the music.
Mm-hmm.
They don't talk about a lot about it. That was very strange. Whether in Bulgaria, if you go, they'll come and say, "Oh, this is what I like. This is what I did. This is what was great." And then this was okay. Maybe you could do that better. Or I like. Or that's a musician. If it's not a musician, they would say, I like, say, the second piece most because it made me feel, I don't know how, or it made me remember something. They will share the way they perceive your music with you. Rather here, they were all like the positive. You can feel that positive, but like stillness, still positive. Yeah. They'll say, congratulations. I really enjoyed it. This was great. And also, people here don't speak about feelings a lot. Don't share emotions a lot. Yeah, this is another. I mean, it's not only about music, about everything. Everything is about facts and about what has happened, about reasons about that, what has happened, and then what do you feel, or do you feel anything, or why do you feel? You don't. It's kind of they don't go, or this is what I feel. Mm-hmm. They don't go into questioning the emotions or the feelings behind anything. It's mostly facts about things.
So in Bulgaria, how's that different? Would you say are people more willing to more open with their emotions?
Yes, people, and they would talk about their emotions. They would describe these emotions more. Yeah, or say this thing that I don't really like in Bulgarians, but it's what it is. When they're sad, they try this. They're sad and they explain that sadness so well that you become sad at the end of the story. And there's this heaviness of feelings, which is and it's everywhere, and it's everyone, and you get this sadness, even if you don't want it, you kind of, it stings to you somehow, or say the positive. Of course, they share the positive as well, but I think in Bulgaria that sadness is a bit more like everywhere. And they talk about it. Of course, when you talk about something and you make it bigger and bigger and bigger, probably people know it, but it's a cultural thing. You don't realize it. You speak that way because everyone speaks that way because you used to speak that way, it's that kind of thing. And I don't think here people describe their emotions, and people speak openly about happiness or sadness or any other emotions they can, about anything. I mean, fear, anxiety, that kind of things. They don't really talk openly about these things with friends. Probably they go to psychologists and talk there. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just guessing, because as a human being, you need to share your emotions. You have emotions. You can choose not to show them. You can put a happy mask everywhere. You can look any type you want to look. But everyone has something deep. I believe in that, and you need to share it with someone. Yeah. It could be in within the family. I don't know. I don't know that much, but they don't share it openly. They don't share it with their friends easily. We've got this saying even in Bulgarian, with very old sayings. It says, a shared heart is a half heart.
Oh, okay. We say in English, a problem shared is a problem halved.
It feels like Australians just want to pass on to the next thing. And it's more when you come from abroad and you see what you get, like, overall is the positiveness. People are positive. People are always positive. Whatever happens, that's positive. Maybe because they don't go to the negatives, or maybe because they're taught to look at the positives. I don't know, but this is what you get, and I think that's cool. Interesting people. I mean, you come to the end of the world, and like in the end of the world, in the end of the street, there is a lady which does something that you've never heard of, and she's really good at that. And you speak to them, and they're nice. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting place. But you've got to live here. If you come, we've been talking with other foreigners. If you come here for a holiday, for say 2 weeks in Hobart, you would never understand what's going on. You can't understand the life. You can't understand. It would be very boring. It would would be very expensive. Yeah.